We're here today for the rededication of the restored original courthouse in Dade City.
Next 2 years we're down with cross, so we might want to see the
Thank you very much. Mr. Burnside. This is Stanley Burnside.
Cleanup details. Yesterday, last night. Yeah.
Hello, cousin. Brenda?
This is a strictly a woman's day.
My dad and my mom went.
It's just striking 12, so it must be about time to get this show on the road.
It's a good idea.
She probably didn't have our new address.
We're supposed to, they got the reservation set, the Golden Corral right down here. We get through this and we just got
of the Pasco County Courthouse. My name is Thad Lowry, and I am honored to have, at this time I would like to call forward Mr. Joe Herman.
Gracious Heavenly Father of us all, as you look down upon your servants assembled here for this occasion, which has served as our courthouse since 1909.
Defender for Pasco County. You can all hold your applause until we get everyone introduced. Kurt Browning, Supervisor of Elections. Mr. Mike Olson, Tax Collector. Mr. Jed Pittman, Clerk of the Circuit Court. Mr. Mike Wells.
Trees grow so tall in the bright sunshine. A young boy still uses his daddy's fishing line. The alligator lays on the banks of the river. These are the few things I'm in love with. A small part of the reason I go back to Carolina, Mississippi, Florida, gorgeous Georgia. Now if you think I'm happy down the cows give cream for the base. Paul comes in full of gin, he's made as a rattlesnake. And then the well runs dry, and we cry, 'cause the garden hurt. Mama draws a bucket full of creek water just to wash our clothes. Now these are a few things I never will. A small part of the reason I go back to Carolina, Mississippi, for gorgeous Georgia. Now if you think I'm happy down there, you're on the right track. You ain't just a whistling Dixie. You ain't just a love of your knee. I'm a grandson of the Southland boys, and heir to the Confederacy. You ain't just a whistling Dixie, 'cause a cattle car's calling me home. So put me down there where I wanna be, plant my feet with Robert E. and bury my bones under a cypress tree, and never let me wrong.
We're going to be back for another one later, and a big session west of town tonight. The Snake Rattle and Roll. At this time, I would like to, we are very fortunate, you know, to have...
I'm so happy to be here. County commissioners, dignitaries, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for inviting me here to represent my great-grandfather, Sam Pasco. When Sam Pasco finished his schooling in a little school called Harvard, up in Boston, Massachusetts, you may have heard of it, the first job that he was offered and that he accepted was as a headmaster of a boys' academy in Wauchula, Florida, which is just south of Monticello, a little north of here, in Jefferson County. This was in about 1855. Then, when the war between the states broke out, he took his boys and started his own ready-made company, Florida Militia, and they distinguished themselves, even though some of them were only as old as 13 years old. My wife and I have just, in the last couple of years, started our own school, and sometimes I wonder if it has anything to do with my forebears. One thing that I've looked for in our school is called Back to Basic School, by the way. It's located in Clearwater. And one thing that I've looked for our school is a way to ensure that our school not only teaches the basics, reading, writing, and arithmetic to our kids, but also teaches them something of the moral values that make this country strong. I think my great-grandfather would be very happy to know that I found an organization called the Way to Happiness organization, the Way to Happiness Foundation, who offers school children a simple way to learn about the virtues that are part of our, or a vital part of our culture. This is something that I feel has been left out of a lot of schools. Also, the Way to Happiness Foundation with this little book, I have a copy of the book here, has gone into the juvenile courts and has made a great impact where...
Thank you very much, and I wish to express my personal appreciation to the Board of County Commissioners, and hello other dignitaries, and especially the founding family descendants. 83 years ago this Christmas Eve, Major Francis Dade ordered his troop of 108 foot soldiers to make camp. Dade was en route to Ocala to put down an Indian insurrection. They built earthen breastworks that afternoon at the site adjacent to our current Pasco High School. 3 days later, all but one of his troop were massacred approximately 20 miles north by an Indian war party. 74 years after this tragedy, this beautiful building, designed by a local architect, Artemus Roberts, was built as the crown jewel of Pasco County, here in the county seat, named to commemorate Major Dade. And now, 89 years later, we have restored it to its original brilliance. The role of the Founding Families Project I have been honored to chair has been to add a lasting human dimension to this restoration. It is altogether fitting that we today also dedicate 233 beautiful cast bronze plaques embedded in the sidewalks leading to the north portico to honor those pioneer families who toiled and sacrificed to make possible and build this wonderful edifice. By the way, information on the extension and the participation requirements to add additional plaques is available at the Founding Families tent on the southeast corner of the courthouse square. There you will also find some keepsake booklets and Christmas ornaments on sale. And a special invitation is hereby extended to the descendants of the Founding Families to pick up your name badges and to register at this tent set up in your honor. All of you should know that these plaques were acquired through the exclusive use of private donations. Before proceeding, I would like to recognize the tireless efforts of the Founding Families Committee, Johnny Entz, Mary Jane Hunt, Brenda Knowles, David Rice, Margaret Sepinen, George Warren, Mary Wilson, plus Edward Larkin Jr., who assisted in the plaque design. There's a rich history that each of these founding families could tell if they were here. Tales of friendship, of love and rejoicing, tales of hardship and of valor. The important role played by those not commemorated here today should in no way be diminished. Regrettably, the required supporting documentation simply isn't available for some. Some families moved away with no trace, and others simply died out, leaving no issue. The vast majority of the founding families, some 144, were chronicled as planters or farmers to supplement their diet for the sale as a cash crop. They grew vegetables and other field crops. Citrus, including kumquats, would eventually pioneers were listed as cattlemen. 11 listed as men of the sea, including 8 commercial fishermen and 1 a ship's captain. Our founding families included 2 listed as carpenters. However, many developed these skills in the construction of their own homes. 4 were postmasters, and 1, the surveyor William Jackson, whose first wife, Clarissa Lanier, was believed to be the second cousin, thrice removed, of none other than President George Washington. All were devout Christians and dedicated churchgoers. The group embodies 5 ministers, including the first Benedictine monk in Florida. 10 included merchants and 1 undertaker. 11 were military officers, including General Samuel Fountain. At least 8 served in the Civil War for the Confederates. J.C. Emerson was a sharpshooter under General Pickens' command at the Battle of Gettysburg. The founding families had 1 railroad and land agent, 7 lawyers, including Judge Thrasher, and a signer of the Florida Constitution, Colonel J.A. Henley. There was 1 engineer, P.C. Bailey of Elfers, and the millwright, Levi Island, who built the first 2 grist mills in the county on Chipco Creek and at Hudson Lake. The first at Chipco included a 225-foot dam, a cotton press, and a community brick baking oven. Island also built several sawmills, including his own at Fort Dade, that incidentally cut the lumber used in the John Overstreet house in the mid-1860s. This remarkable 2-story house is now restored on the grounds of the Pioneer Florida Museum. The files for each of these founding families will be housed in the archives of this unique museum 1 mile north of Dade City for you and future generations to inspect. Our Special Pioneer Families group holds 3 law enforcement officers, including the colorful Sheriff Ike Hudson. He and his close friend, the beloved Archie Burnside, were born in the hamlet of Chipco, about 4 miles due west of here. Both lived over 101 years. Both seldom left the county of Pasco. Burnside was elected clerk of the circuit court for 40 straight years, the last 20 without opposition. Of him it was said, quote, "He never met a man he didn't want to help," unquote. The founding families group include 5 educators. We have also 7 doctors or physicians and 1 nurse. Their ranks also include 8 black families, many of whom were landowners, including Handy and Caroline Hicks, whose son H.T., age 96, still lives off Old Blanton Road at County Line. These 233 beautiful plaques are the fruit of this noble project and will be a lasting tribute to our ancestors in which we can all take great pride. And now I'd like to conclude by reading from the inscription on the Founding Families Project Karen plaque. Quote, "These plaques commemorate those who came to this beautiful but untamed land. With sacrifice they applied to same the labors of love and a steadfast hand. They created our county and entitled her Pasco in 1887. We salute this rich heritage, trusting the pioneers approve as they reap their final harvest in heaven." Thank you.
County Commissioner Steve Simon, County Commissioner Ann Hildebrand. I think it appropriate that we should make some mention of our costumes. I don't know that we will ever see the Commission so uniformly attired as we do today. I commend them for that. It's a wonderful opportunity for us to dress up. At this time, I would like to introduce Mr. David Hap Clark, Jr., Vice Chairman of the County Commission.
I'm proud to be from Pasco County. We don't have to take a back seat to Pinellas or Hillsborough or any other county in this state. So we all ought to be proud. I'm also proud that Dade City is our county seat, and I'll do everything in my power to keep Dade City as the county seat. My family goes back a long ways. We had a chairman of the board, I think was right close to the first chairman, was Edward Lyles. My grandfather, J.W. Clark, was county commissioner in 1893. My dad was county commissioner in the 30s. We had Sandra Warner, now she's here someplace if she could stand up. She was one of our county commissioners, and myself. I'm very proud to be here, and we want to thank all the people. A lot of us spent a lot of time going to Tallahassee, and with the help of all the staff and everybody, the lawyers and everybody involved in this. It took a lot of hard work, and I'm very proud to be here. Thank you very much.
I think he wins a prize for the attire. It is indeed an honor to introduce our next speaker, because without her dedication, her hard work, this would possibly not have been accomplished. The chairman of the Pasco County Commission, Sylvia Young.
Thank you very much for being here today. Every day for 14 years I passed by this building, actually for 60, and I thought that it was about time, since this was our county seat, this was Pasco County, we were awful proud of a building and a place to go. We had a good friend that was back and forth to Tallahassee. One day I called and I said, would you please check and see if there's any money in Tallahassee that we can get a grant so we can restore and renovate the old courthouse? He's been very silent in all this, but Mr. Clyde Hobby, when we cut this ribbon, I want you to come forward, because you were with us every step of the way. I'd like to thank Samuel W. Pasco for thinking enough of his name, wanting to be put it in history in Pasco County. I was born here. Number 6 and 7 is some of our founding families, and 11 and 12, and I can go on right on down the line. There's an awful lot of history that's here, and I'm glad that I'm part of preserving some of this. There's been an awful lot of people that have actually really helped us, and I'd like for each and every one of you to come up, because we're going to have a board meeting at 1 o'clock. But before we do that, there's one gentleman that read in the paper that we were looking for antiques. And I want you to know that Mr. Tom Doby has donated over 29 lamps, couches, chairs, beautiful artifacts that is going to be in our courthouse. Although our courthouse is only substantial completion, There might be a little bit of powder and a little bit of paint that needs to be put down. It will be finished. But on behalf of the Board of County Commissioners, I would like to present this to Mr. Tom Doby with sincere appreciation for your generous donation of antique furniture in honor of your father, Joseph, to Pasco County, the historical Pasco County Courthouse, December the 5th, 1998. It's not signed, but it's witnessed by Sylvia Young, Chairman, David Hap Clark, Jr., Vice Chairman, Pat Mallory, Ph.D., Steve Simons, and Commissioner Ann Hildebrand. Tom? We also think, took us a while, but we found Samuel W. Pasco's great-grandson. Isn't he a fine specimen of a Pasco? Sometimes you think people might be tall, short, skinny, fat, whatever. To me, whenever I first saw him in 1987, he was a true Pasco. You will also find upstairs in the history room and also in our boardroom a picture of Samuel W. Pasco. We presented that with a lot of pride. We would like to present this to Mallory Pasco in remembrance and in honor of the many contributions and dedicated service your great-grandfather, Samuel W. Pasco, gave to the citizens of Pasco County. We proudly present you with this key to Pasco County. December the 5th, 1998, by your county commissioners. Thank you so much. We have drinks in our buggies, the founding families, with a lot of donations around the community. There's a little bit of refreshments, but first we would like for the 5 county commissioners, the Bellamy brothers, Mr. Clyde Hobby, our staff, and our distinguished guests, whenever Howard and David get through with their final song, to come and help us cut the ribbon, along with Miss Pasco County. And now, I'm proud to present my cousins, the Bellamy brothers.
Office, she spearheaded the restoration and renovation of the historic Pasco County Courthouse. It was her determination, drive, and diligence that made the project possible. Her vision created a legacy of Pasco's past for all its citizens. December 5th, 1998, David Hap Clark, Vice Chair, Pat Mallory, Ann Hildebrand, and Steve Simons. And it's an honor.
I'm gonna get you and then and the sign, but then I'm gonna have to zoom in on the sign, okay?
You don't recognize.
Yeah, there you go.
Buddy? Yes. You know me?
But you know, when I was young, I worked.
Oh, sure.
Well, that is some desk, isn't it?
Look at those old shoes over there. Oh, this is
I think I need some light on it, don't I?
this one too. You want to come back here? I'll get out of your way.
That's a beautiful bunch. That's some pretty furniture there too, you know it? Time for about 3 years, and then and this is in the county commission now, the county commission boardroom. Got to get some of these ceiling details too.
Here is young Schrader's father.
Well, that's, yeah. But it's also, well, that's the